The Greater Yellowstone Ecosystem is one of the most important wildlife habitats on this continent. It's an amazing collection of animals supported directly by bison.
We need to do the best job possible for restoring our national mammal, and that's both reconnecting people and lands with bison.
We all know this is special, and we all get a benefit from it. How do we protect this well? Because now it's really rare.
Bear spray, and that's camera gear and things you want to just easy access straight up into the tent.
Our journey began in Colorado, where I met up with Carter to embark on this expedition.
A dry and windy region, the vast flatlands of the high plains often remain snow-free in the dead of winter. While most of the region is developed ranch land, pockets of wilderness still remain. Reservations and national grasslands provide a refuge for bison, many of which have been relocated through tribal conservation efforts. Badlands formations are the result of two geological forces, deposition and erosion. The buttes and spires visible today are the culmination of a 75 million year process. Today, it is prime habitat for bighorn sheep, North America's largest wild sheep species. Radio collars are an important tool in conservation efforts. These tags allow wildlife biologists to track and study movement, behavior, and disease transmission.
These two right here have been picture perfect this whole time.
That's sick. That's so sick.
They've literally been vibing. The one with the giant horns right now is so
The northernmost reaches of the plains was probably the most treacherous weather we encountered. Temperatures were consistently below zero. We were getting blown all over the place by winds that were in excess of 50 miles per hour. It was crazy. I was amazed by the life that found ways to survive under these conditions.
At 22 million acres, the Greater Yellowstone Ecosystem is one of the largest nearly intact temperate ecosystems on the face of the planet. Yellowstone sits above one of the largest volcanic systems on Earth, an active supervolcano that heats the park's 10,000 hydrothermal features and 500 active geysers. Home to the largest concentration of mammals in the lower 48 states, this ecosystem contains the greatest and most diverse gathering of ungulates in the Western Hemisphere. Pronghorn make their annual 200-mile-long migration through this land, crossing through widespread human development and ranch land as they navigate the longest land migration in the lower 48 states. Both mule and white-tailed deer roam these brushes, feeding on twigs, grasses, and other vegetation. High in the rocky cliffs of Badlands National Park, bighorn sheep traverse through steep, rugged terrain. In the Tetons, moose and elk gather in massive numbers. Every winter, thousands of elk migrate to the National Elk Refuge in Jackson, Wyoming, to feed and escape the deep snow of higher elevation areas. The tallest land mammal in North America, bull moose, typically drop their antlers in January. As the weather gets colder, their diets shift to woody browse and subalpine fur. While moose prefer to live in forested areas near a water source, bison thrive in the open prairie. The stewards of the grasslands, their grazing patterns increase the biodiversity of the regions they inhabit.
Bison are an ecosystem engineer. They fundamentally change an ecosystem. They exert this bottom-up influence, making this a healthier, more productive, more diverse landscape.
The largest land mammal in North America, the American bison, can weigh over 2,000 pounds and stand up to 6 feet tall. Despite their enormous size, they are incredibly agile and quick animals, able to reach speeds of 35 miles per hour. During January, they spend the majority of their time conserving energy and foraging for vegetation in the snow. Their woolly dark brown winter coat helps keep them insulated from harsh weather. They are able to withstand temperatures as low as negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, battling blizzard conditions to get to grass beneath the frost. But even baby bison can withstand Wyoming's freezing winters. This calf is one of the park's youngest. Typically born in springtime, they've been nicknamed red dogs due to the light hue of their fur. After a few months, their coat will start to darken as their trademark shoulder hump and horns begin to grow.
Bison are a herd animal. Power in the herd, power in numbers. So they can live in this Yellowstone ecosystem in the winter where sometimes, the snow's up above my waist, up to my chest, because they work together. They're the biological equivalent of a snowplow. With those huge necks, they can displace snow, working together to access food year-round. When the food is no longer available, they can work together, walking single file, building these lines that the herds walk to get from the high elevation mountains to the river valleys, to the low elevation river valleys that don't have any snow in winter. So there really are a power in numbers, work together society that allows them to live in this place that is really unlivable to most things in the wintertime. When winter turns to spring, bison follow the wave of spring green up, whether it's from central to more northern latitudes or it's from low to high elevations. They follow that wave of spring as the landscape turns from white to green, capitalizing on that high quality forage. By doing so, that really shapes the way that spring comes to places. They accelerate nutrient cycling, which causes grasses and plants to regrow after being grazed. So they essentially not only follow green waves, but create their own green waves across the systems. This Yellowstone that we see today is this ebb and flow between wolves and bison. Wolves exerting these top-down pressures on the ecosystem. So, affecting prey populations like bison and elk and deer, and in turn affecting the food that those animals rely on.
Since their reintroduction to the park in 1995, wolves have rejuvenated the health and diversity of the region's wildlife. Their presence as an apex predator triggered a trophic cascade of ecological restoration. The gray wolf is a highly elusive animal. Observing them is no easy endeavor.
Early morning here in Yellowstone National Park. Currently at Lamar Valley. Still pretty dark out. Not a ton of people around, but as you can see, we got some beautiful winter weather. The snow is pretty deep, which means it's going to be hopefully easier to find animal tracks. We just finished gearing up. Got all of our cameras, got all of our lenses. Dressed very warm. Ready to go get after it. Gonna go hopefully try and find some wolves. We're sitting in the snow in Lamar Valley right now. We've been trying to stake out a pack of wolves all day long. Struck out this morning, got up at sunrise, completely struck out. Been striking out all day, got some coyote stuff, but we really want a nice wolf footage, and we just got a tip from some local guides and rangers about a bison carcass in the area. So we've been trekking through Lamar Valley in a couple feet of snow, and gonna go set up and hopefully try and get some footage of these wolves around dusk tonight.
The Molly's Pack is Yellowstone's longest reigning wolf pack, named after Molly Beatty, the first female director of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Complex social beings, wolves are highly intelligent and capable of experiencing a wide range of emotions. They form close familial bonds, passing hunting strategies from one generation to the next. The Mollies are well known for their skill in preying on bison, but are highly cautious and rarely seen.
You can still see it in the distance. There's a black little dot moving through the horizon. Now we're just watching as the lead wolves head back into the forest. The rest of the pack has already made their way up there, so it's just this one that they're waiting on. But what an incredible experience. My first time ever seeing wolves in the wild. Did not disappoint. We got out here early, backcountry'd it, waited for them.
The landscape that you see when you go out to Lamar is really this ebb and flow, this push and pull between wolves and bison and what they mean to the ecosystem.
You know, wolves are up there because they're so social,
Yeah.
and they mirror us. They're a cooperative social mammal, and so that's like easy to like feel that connection. Watching young pups up in Yellowstone, like as mom comes back, you know, tails wagging, is like, that's like, how could you not feel something there?
Wolves have been an incredibly important component to bring back to this ecosystem, along with other predators. It has stabilized all of the things that eat plants in the ecosystem, so their food, and it's changed the relative proportion of all of these animals. So rather than a Yellowstone that had an awful lot of elk and not a lot of anything else, we now have an ecosystem that's balanced between bison and elk and more robust deer and sheep and pronghorn populations. So that essentially increased the diversity of the ungulates in the park. And all of those ungulates in turn migrate differently, you know, feed on different foods. So it had all of these trickle-down effects on plants and riverways, and it fundamentally changed Yellowstone.
Ungulates are hooved animals that play a crucial role in maintaining grassland health. They are the primary source of prey for the world's large carnivore and scavenger populations. Yellowstone's abundance of ungulates is an indicator of the environment's health.
Most other species like deer or elk or waterfowl, rely on having to time their movements with spring, when there's high quality food available. And like whether it's flying, along a coast or whether it's walking, if you're an elk, you just gotta stay in tempo with spring to move. Like we've learned bison do that, but they also create that tempo, which means all of the other herbivores need to tie into buffalo to get the best foods too. It's really, it's quite unbelievable. In this country, the idea was to get rid of bison, to exterminate bison, because if you could exterminate bison, you would remove indigenous people and win a war to take over the continent. So we went to great lengths as a country to eradicate bison, dropping them from over 30 to 60 million animals down to a couple of dozen in Yellowstone National Park and a couple other remnant herds throughout the country. And that legacy has, facilitated us treating buffalo or bison differently than all other wildlife. When we bring them back today, it's generally behind fences, it's generally in small numbers. It's not the millions of animals moving along the river corridors, shaping how the ecosystems of this country once worked. It's putting almost display herds behind fences. Other than here, which is the one last wild population that remains today. What we're trying to do today is protect what we have here and then look for opportunities, because they are out there, to start other small Yellowstones, places where you can meaningfully put bison back on landscapes, reconnect them with people. And we're trying very hard to do that with indigenous people due to the importance of bison to their cultures, to their lives, to their spirituality.
What I think's cool about the Greater Yellowstone is that it's like a time machine. You can't say that about a lot of places in the world, but you can say that about this landscape.
Bison are representative of this land. They play a major role in keeping it healthy. This ecosystem is simply not the same without them. It's absolutely critical that we preserve wilderness areas like the Greater Yellowstone and protect the wildlife that calls our planet home.